All right, hello, loves, and welcome back to an episode of Alchemy with Melanie. So, tonight we're diving into the first full moon of 2025 and the powerful energy that is bringing up for all of us. Right now, a lot of us are feeling some pressure, and it can feel like we're really being squeezed. So, anxiety could probably be running pretty high in your life. If you're experiencing any sudden shifts, conflicts, or feeling pulled in a lot of different directions, well, my friend, you are not alone. So, some things we're being challenged with right now are money, survival, career, as well as home, family, and intimate relationships. There is a lot of external pressure, and it might feel like things are falling apart. But here's the thing, these endings, whether we want them or not, are making space for something much more aligned. So take a deep breath and remember that things are happening for you, not to you. Now more than ever, we're also being asked to set better boundaries with our time and energy. We need much more structure and discipline in order to find the success and the balance that we're looking for in our lives. So we're being asked to step back and notice where we're overgiving or letting our energy be drained, and how it's really time to focus on what really truly matters, which is you. And so it's time to break free of old patterns where you're not putting yourself first. It's not all doom and gloom though. We're also being reminded of how far we've come and how much we should be proud of that. We've matured, we've learned, and now it's time to use that wisdom that you've gained in order to move forward. So let's explore how we can work with this full moon's energy to navigate these challenges and release what's holding us back, and to create positive change, all without feeling overwhelmed. So grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's dive in. Okay, so our first topic is boundaries, especially when it comes to your time, energy, and your presence. People aren't entitled to you. They're not entitled to your texts, your social media, or your attention simply because they want it. If someone's demanding more than you're willing to give, then that's really their issue to deal with, and it's not yours. You don't need to feel guilty about it. We are all human beings navigating very complex journeys, and so at the end of the day, your responsibilities are to yourself first. Your mind, your body, your spirit, your home, those things are all priority. They need to come first. You can't hold it together for everyone and everything at the expense of your own peace. That's not love. That is self-abandonment, my friends. And that is something we would like to avoid at all costs. But the problem is that many of us have been taught or conditioned that love equals sacrifice, and that it's our duty to save, carry, or fix people, even if it destroys us in the process. But let me be clear, you're not here to rescue anyone. You are not obligated to go down with someone else's sinking ship just because you care about them. Love does not mean self-destruction, okay? And if someone's energy and choices or behaviors are negatively affecting you, then it's probably a sign to step back rather than lean in. So, but another question is like, what if their choices don't affect you? Well, that's all the more reason to let them stay in their own lane, focus on their own fence, and the hard truth is that some people aren't meant to be in your life long term. They have their own lessons, their own soul contracts that they need to work through, and that's between them and God. And trying to save someone from their own path only further delays their growth. And so the best thing you can do is let them go and let them learn. That can be hard sometimes, but in a situation where somebody's energy is directly affecting you, then you really need to set boundaries. Because if you aren't protecting your peace, let me ask you, who is going to do it? Who? Exactly. Absolutely no one. So if you ever find yourself stressed about putting up boundaries, you have to ask yourself, like, if I don't change this, who's going to change it for me? Absolutely freaking no one. So that should be your incentive, okay? So I think something that always comes up is like, am I selfish if I do this? No. I'm here to tell you, no. It's not selfish, it's actually necessary. Otherwise, you're going to become a drained, bitter, resentful martyr, and let's be honest, that doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't fix the situation, and it doesn't create any real change. So, and you've probably heard this before, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, this applies to everything. People need to learn their own lessons in order to grow. Like, think about your journey, right? So, how did you gain strength, wisdom, and confidence? Not because somebody saved you, but because you faced the fire and you found your own way through, right? And then there's that other saying, uh, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish, and he'll eat for his whole life. And sometimes, so the most loving thing you can do is let people struggle. And that sucks. Doesn't feel good, but usually people change once they're sick and tired of their own bullshit. They get backed into a corner and they're like, okay, I need to make a change. So stop carrying people who refuse to walk. You're literally wasting your time and you're breaking your own back. So, yeah. Now, let's talk about people that you allow into your space. If you don't feel seen, heard, or respected, then that's your answer that you need to stop letting people validate what you're already feeling in your body, but are looking for some kind of validation. If you feel off around someone, please trust your gut. We don't always get proof why someone's energy feels wrong. Sometimes it's just a little whisper or tension or just this really off feeling. But that should be enough information for you because your intuition doesn't owe you an explanation, it just knows. So can you just build a relationship with it where you listen to it? You only have 6 seats at your table, so who and what are you going to fill it with? Are these people draining you or nourishing you? Are they expanding your spirit or shrinking it? And are they in your life just because of true connection, a genuine connection, or is it because you're holding out on guilt, history, and obligation? Because that's definitely not a reason to keep someone in your life. It's not good for you or them. So the top 3 questions that you're going to ask yourself on this topic is, where do you need to reclaim your energy? Where are you giving too much out of obligation rather than love? And where are you ignoring your intuition about people and situations? All right, so next, let's talk about saying no. Too many of us have been taught that saying no is rude, selfish, or unkind, but the truth is that every time you say yes to something that you don't actually have the time, energy, or capacity for, you're actually saying no to yourself in the end. That energy that you're sacrificing, it's not just a moment of your time, it's actually a piece of your well-being. So saying yes when you don't mean it often leads to less rest because you've overcommitted yourself, less enjoyment because you're drained from doing things out of guilt and obligation, less time for people that you actually love because you're giving your energy to people or places that don't actually even pour back into you, less time for creativity, art, and passion because your mind is cluttered with commitments that don't serve you, and less time for your actual priorities like catching up on work, sleep, tending to your home, or having a moment to just breathe or watch a movie, read a book, or something. And what do you think happens when this just keeps stacking up? It makes you feel overwhelmed and behind in life, and you start resenting everyone, even though you're the one who agreed to all this in the first place. So you're going to feel completely exhausted, disconnected, uninspired from yourself, and all because you put other people's wants before your own needs. So here's a hard but necessary truth. You do not owe anyone a yes. You do not owe anyone your time, your energy, or your presence just because they ask. And if something doesn't feel right and stretches you too thin, then that's your answer. No, I cannot. No, that doesn't work for me. You don't need to explain yourself. All your yeses should be intentional. They should be aligned, because when you're saying no to what isn't serving you, what you're doing is actually creating a space to create the life that you actually want. And that's where your true power lies. So if you struggle with just saying yes on the spot, something I had to learn was to say to myself or to say to the person, I need to go and think about that. Can I get back to you? or let me give that some thought and I'll get back to you. And honestly, it's saved me from putting myself in a bunch of situations that I would have regretted later. And if someone wants me to do something and I'm honestly not sure how I'll feel, because I get drained very easily and I just don't know how I'll feel day to day, if I want to feel it out that day, in that scenario, I just say, it's my intention to go to that event next month, but I'll have to let you know closer to the date. And I mean, people are always fine with it, and it definitely changed my life, and hopefully can help you with yours as well. So the questions for this one: are you saying yes out of obligation or truth? Where can you say no to protect your energy? And what would shift in your life if you stopped overextending yourself? You don't need to abandon yourself for the comfort of others. Your peace needs to be your priority. So the next thing I want to talk about is balanced giving and receiving as a key to having healthy relationships. This is a boundary that I think that we struggle with as humans to put into place. This lesson took me a tremendously long time to figure out, like embarrassingly long. Relationships, either friendship, family, or romantic, should be reciprocal and mutual. They should, for the most part, feel life-giving. And it's not to say that they won't have their ups and downs, but at their core, they should certainly balance out over time. Think of it like a dance, right? Like sometimes someone's gonna lead and vice versa. And there's gonna be seasons where one of you gives more, supports more, shows up more, and then there's times where the roles are gonna reverse. But if the scale is always tipping in one direction, if that person's always pouring in and the other one's always taking, that's not a connection. That's just a drain. That's a leak in your bathtub. Beware of takers and energy suckers, and know that some people will give and take, or some people will take until there's nothing left for you to give. Some people do it on purpose, and other people are just doing it very unconsciously and don't even realize that they're doing it. They're just operating from their own patterns. But it's important to be mindful if you're someone who naturally gives and who loves deeply and who's kind and has a big heart and has a lot of energy to share. You gotta learn to be mindful and discerning of this. A healthy relationship does not mean giving endlessly without never receiving. It doesn't mean sacrificing your needs or time or peace just to keep somebody else happy and comfortable either. And here's the thing, like giving and receiving doesn't have to look the same. And let me give you an example of that. So my friend Everett, he watches my dogs for me, and in return, I make him soups, food, for his freezer. I help him with computer stuff. I help him with his gardening and landscaping. But, you know, we also have mutual things we love. We love walking, talking, and we do a lot of growth work together. So it's not transactional. It's not like I do X, now you do Y. It's actually about a natural flow where both people in the relationship feel valued and supported. And I would absolutely never want him to feel like he just, you know, watches the dogs for me. That's not friendship. That's extremely transactional. And he actually means the freaking world to me. And he's been there for me in ways I could never, ever, ever repay. Ever. Ever. There has never been a more reliable person in my entire life than this guy. And he helped me get through my divorce, COVID, when I lost my business, all those things at the same time, plus 40 other things on top of them. He literally walked me like over the bridge from hell, and I can't even imagine what that time of my life would have looked like had he not been there at my side. And the same thing goes for my best friend Tammy. Like she did the same thing, just differently because she lives in Lethbridge. She, you know, we got long distance going on, but we still make the time every single day for each other. And It's not just me reaching out, it's her too, and it's been mutual since we were 14 years old and we're 34 now. So it's the key to a long-lasting healthy relationship is giving and receiving. Long-term things should always find a way to balance out. So we've talked about taking too much, but we also need to talk about those who refuse to receive, to take things in. That's also a thing, right? So it's blocking any kind of giving is like just as harmful. If you're blocking an attempt of someone to give to you, no matter how small it is, it's disrupting that natural flow of energy, right? Think about it. If somebody offers to buy you a coffee and you're like, oh, no, that's okay, I got it, you just blocked them from trying to give you something, the joy of giving for them, and then you receiving abundance or a gift. And then if somebody gives you a compliment, they're like, oh, I love your dress. And you're like, oh, this little dress, it's nothing. Well, now you shut down their moment of generosity and their moment of trying to give love. And like another situation is like if a friend's trying to help you and you refuse out of pride, even though you actually need the help, well, look at what you just did. You cut off the cycle of giving and receiving. And so giving and receiving are on the same coin. You need to give and receive in order to be in balance. And I think actually, in my opinion, this is very important in more than just relationships, but also manifesting, because in order to manifest anything, the universe works on exchange. If you give freely and receive freely, you keep the energy flowing. This applies to money, love, opportunities, everything. If you hoard money out of fear, you block financial abundance. If you give all your energy away without ever refueling your own cup, like pouring out to everyone else, well, no, good luck. If you give everyone support and don't ask for any for yourself, well, that's not good either. So be careful of those extremes that we can fall into. They are very harmful, and there's something that we just need to be very aware of observing and catching ourselves in the moment. When you learn to actually give and receive in balance, you'll notice that everything else in your life also just flows naturally, normally, and in balance. It's like this very nice river that just flows. So otherwise, we're like asking ourselves, why doesn't the universe send me what I want? Well, if you keep showing time and time again that you can't receive, why do you think it would bother? You reject small acts of kindness. You're not open to receiving. You're signaling that that door is shut. And if you don't believe in that, I can assure you, you don't believe in magic, miracles, or good things happening on a regular basis. And unfortunately, if that's your belief system, that's your blockage. But that's a whole topic for another day. So we're just going to leave it there and then move on to the next subject. The point is just receive, and you will make space for so much more abundance to come into your life. All right. So our next subject, I want to talk about the current collective feelings and how things feel very anxious, tense, pressurized, and like you feel like you're being squeezed. There's just a lot of anxiety, shifts, and conflicts are kind of coming up, and maybe you feel pulled in a bunch of different directions. But the key message here that I want to share with you today, if you listen to anything I say today, is please do not step into fear. Fear is never the answer. When we make decisions out of fear, we get results that we never truly want. They're misaligned, they're wonky, and they don't bring us closer to what we actually desire. Why? Because they come from a place of lack, not from a place of alignment with our higher self. When we come from fear, we're making choices in opposition to love and trust and our heart's true path. So trust me, I've been there. I've built businesses. I faced moments where I couldn't pay rent. I felt the weight of everything crumbling. I learned the hard way that fear doesn't ever move you forward. It just blocks what you need and want, and delays what's meant for you. You've probably heard this story before about two wolves inside of us. There's one that represents love, hope, and peace, and one that represents fear, anxiety, negativity. And whichever one you feed is the one that grows. And so when the fear arises, you have to ask yourself, which wolf am I feeding right now? Am I feeding the wolf of fear, worry, and stress, or am I choosing to feed the wolf of trust, hope, and calm and faith, right? So remember that whatever you feed is going to grow and expand, and fear is only going to grow more fear. But if you choose to be in a state of hope and trust, that's what's going to expand outwardly into your life. So something important to remember is that panicking immediately throws up roadblocks. It's like tape, but it prevents solutions from coming to you as soon as they could. You're fogging up your mirror and your energy gets stagnant and stuck, and you become very much more overwhelmed. So what you need to do is actually take a step back and find a way to relax and find your center. And that's when solutions can start to flow freely and where you can actually get the clarity because you've taken the time to listen and to get stabilized and clear so that the answers can come. And sometimes we ignore answers because they're so simple and easy and we just don't do them because we think it's too easy, or we just get so stuck in our drama of being like, oh my God, everything is horrible and not working out. And then you just keep feeding that. And then it's like, well, if you were actually listening to yourself and your inner voice, you would know that that guidance already came in for you from the self, from the higher self, from God, from the universe, whatever. It comes in subtly and quietly and discreetly. It's not anything that's like loud or boastful. And so when you're not slowing down enough, and you're not in a aligned state, it's very easy to miss those messages. So just relax, take a step back and find alignment and trust that you'll figure it out just like you always have. You've been in many situations before that you thought would never end, and they did. And you figured out a solution to it, and it's a chapter in a closed book now. You always find a way out. Things always end and they get better, I promise. I mean, I've been in so many situations where I'm like beyond overwhelmed, beyond exhausted, and I know better. And I don't fight things as they come up. I ask myself, what can I learn from this? What's it showing me? What's it teaching me? Where is it redirecting me? And in the meantime, I focus on the possibilities instead of problems, and I find a state of alignment and rest. Like I have to reparent the negative thoughts in my head and soothe them, and I find a way to relax. So I do yoga, I meditate, I journal, I will lay in bed for a day and watch movies. I'll go for a walk, I'll go outside, I'll read, I'll do puzzles, I'll I'll paint, I'll draw, I'll do the things that I love and that are gonna help me come back to myself. Because they're feeding a higher frequency instead of a lower one. Like the lowest frequency we can exist in the human emotions is fear, guilt, shame. So do you want to be down there, or do you want to kind of find a way for like creativity, joy, hopefulness, optimism, so that can actually just amplify getting those results quicker? But anyways, this full moon is about releasing fear, embrace trust. When things are out of control, that's a signal for you to come back to center. And when your head's spinning, please pause. When you're scattered, you're not going to see the solution. So when you feel pulled in all those directions, start eliminating the things that you're putting energy into that aren't serving you, and bring your focus back to yourself. Align with what you can control, and trust that the universe is working with you. And pray. Get vertical. Let go of the need to figure it out immediately and to figure it out in the way that you think it should be figured out in. Put it in the hands of God and trust that things are going to align and work out for you, and in better ways than you could have expected. And that means that in order to receive that, though, you do need to be open to possibilities instead of putting limitations on things that they can only be a certain way. I'll give you an example of this. I remember when I was first opening up my yoga and wellness center, I I really wanted this one space that I was going to build out, and I didn't really have the money to do it. Well, no, I didn't have the money to do it, and I was trying to get this loan for like 300, 400. It was like three to $500,000 to do this build out, and everything was fine. And then like I was about to sign the papers that day, and then had this weird feeling about it, and then because of that weird feeling I had about it, I postponed the meeting. And then I had gotten a call from the bank saying, "Oh, we actually reversed your numbers by accident, and now we can't give you the loan because it was, we had this number in there as this and whatever." And I was like, "Okay, well, you know what? I could panic right now or trust that something better is gonna work out." And you want to know what happened? Was like, I was like, "Fine, it's fine. I'm gonna be fine. This just means that this isn't for me, and there's gonna be a better solution." So a couple weeks later, I ended up coming across this building instead that was going to need about half the amount of renovations, and actually like a third of the amount of renovations, and like not that much money. So it was a way for me to actually, it helped me in the end. It was something that didn't look that it was helping me at the moment, in the moment, and it didn't feel great, but actually in the end a way better solution worked out. So and then, I mean, then COVID happened and my business was closed for 7 months, and, $10,000 a month in rent for 7 months, just bankrupted me. So that was really fun after so many years of building that business. It was an amazing place. It was very loved by so many people. It made a difference in a lot of lives of people, and it definitely still sucks that I lost it over something that's completely beyond my control. Um, and for what, right? But yeah. Anyways, I trust that it removed itself from my life because that was meant to happen, and the journey that I went on was valuable. The journey I went on after from losing it was valuable, and the journey that I'm stepping into now is valuable as well. And those other pieces prepared me for this moment right now. So that's what I'm choosing to focus on, instead of the other part, because the other part, it's pointless to focus on it because it's done, it's gone, it's in the past, and there's truly nothing I can do about it. So it's very interesting. But yeah, I know that whatever has been taken from my life will be equally replaced with something even better than what was there before. And I can't quite see what that is yet, but I'm working towards something, and I'm walking towards it, and it is gonna start walking towards me as well at the same time. So I trust that it's all gonna work out for the best in the end. So this leads me to the last thing that I want to say. Everything truly works out for the best in the end, even when it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually divine redirection. God isn't taking things away from you to punish you. He's guiding you towards something better, something more aligned with who you're becoming. Think about all the times that you fought so hard for something, a person, a job, a situation, only to realize later that losing it was the best thing that could have ever happened. The more that we scream and resist, the longer we delay what's actually meant for us. But when we surrender and trust, things start to fall into place in ways that we could have never even imagined. And I know that change is overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be, and you don't have to have it all figured out overnight. You don't have to take massive, life-altering steps all at once. You just take one step at a time. One step forward is all that you can do, and that's clarity comes in one small motion, not in overthinking. And the guidance and answers always show up when you stay open to them. And something really important to remember is that nothing is ever truly lost. No experience, no detour, no challenge is ever in vain. It's all a part of a greater web and a bigger purpose. So every path you've taken, every lesson you've learned, it's been preparing you for future moments. And so there are no wrong paths, only paths that bring you wisdom and experience and adventure. and some pain and some happiness. It's all learned information. It's all bigger pieces to the puzzle coming together. And I really want you to take a moment to be proud of yourself and look how far you've come. The things that used to trigger you, they don't rub you the same way anymore. The things that used to break you, you now handle with wisdom and grace. And that's growth, that's maturity. And this is where your past experiences become your greatest asset. You've been through enough to know what works and what doesn't work. And so use that wisdom and move forward with clarity and purpose and trust that life is always leading you to where you're meant to be. So as we move through this full moon energy, I want you to just take a deep breath and remind yourself that I am exactly where I need to be. This is a time of release, realignment, and trust, and it's time to let go of what no longer serves us, let go of the fear and the resistance, and the need to control all the outcomes, and trust that what's meant for you will never miss you, and trust that the universe is always working in your favor, even when you can't see the full picture yet. Use this full moon to check in with yourself. Where are you still holding on to fear? Where can you soften and surrender? And what do you need to release so that you can move forward with clarity and ease? And remember that you're stronger and wiser and more capable than you ever give yourself credit for. You are not stuck. You're evolving and everything is shifting for your highest good, even if you can't see that right now. I'll hold that space for you and assure you that that's the track you're on. I hope this resonated with you. I love hearing your insights and experiences, so if you can leave them in the comments. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe, and you can turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on future readings and energy updates. Sending you so much love and trust for this next chapter. You got this.